Pet Life Radio.
This is Pet Life Radio. Let's talk pets.
Hello, welcome to Animal Party on Pet Life Radio. With me, your host, Deb Wolfe. Today, I have something I've been waiting for years. First of all, it is my 100th episode on Pet Life Radio. Woohoo! And so I've got a special guest, someone I've been trying to book for years. I know her dogs. I love her dogs. But I've never been able to book her on the show because she's so busy going to hotels. We'll explain that in a minute. So welcome to the show, Sheree Swindle. Welcome to the show with your bedbug mutts.
Hello there, and congratulations on the 100th episode. That's fantastic.
Yeah, we've been at it a while at Pet Life Radio Animal Party, talking about dogs and cats. And we've had service dogs on the show before, but never anything like this. So tell us, please, what is bedbug mutts?
Well, we are a canine scent detection service, and we search for bedbugs because they're so elusive, hard to find.
Okay.
So the dogs, they work just like a bomb dog or a drug dog. The training's a little bit similar, but the target's different. So it's,
right. Okay. You don't actually have, I'm hoping you don't actually have to have live bedbugs to work with training, do you?
You bet we do.
Oh, okay, I'm itchy already. Oh, my God. You can't use dead ones or excrement or something in a formaldehyde?
No.
Oh, dear.
Well, if you use dead or the fecal, then the dogs would be no good to go in after a treatment because there's going to be dead laying around. So
right.
You actually train them off of the scent of dead.
Oh, no, that's a nightmare for me. Okay, how do you I guess, yeah, but you don't have to worry that they're going to infest your house because your dogs would tell you, wouldn't they?
That's right. We keep a colony, around about 1,000 to 2,000 of bugs. And we keep so many because we do sell them to other bedbug companies across Canada. But
oh, my goodness,
we
I
have
had
to maintain
no idea.
that live colony.
So like in a cage somewhere? Like, I'm not quite getting this. How do you feed? Don't they have to have blood feed? This is really off topic, but interesting.
Yeah. They feed just like a mosquito, but they can't fly or hop or jump. So they're kind of move more like a ladybug crawling along. So yes, we do have to feed them on ourselves. You can't put a pool of blood out. It doesn't work that way. As I said, they feed like a mosquito. So,
wait a minute. You and your husband, you let them climb on you and eat your blood? You do that?
Yeah. It's think of the commercials where they demonstrate. Yeah, think of the commercials where they demonstrate mosquito repellent, where the guy sticks his arm in a container. Well, we have mason jars, and there's a screen on the top where the metal plate would be, and the screen has little tiny holes that they can put through their feeding mechanism like a mosquito, but they can't escape. Not even the first ones out of the eggs, the little tiny nymphs that are instars that are so small they can't escape. So we just turn that upside down on an arm and give them about 15 minutes and feed 500 at a time. And then feeding is my job, and we call wrangling, bedbug wrangling, where that's my partner's job, Ken Handel, who's also my husband. He maintains the colony, cleaning it out. You have to change the papers, etc., and he culls them down and separates them out for selling, etc.
So that's the part of your job that I would never, ever, ever want to do. But the part with your dogs, now that's the part that looks like great fun, honestly.
Yeah, that's the payoff. That's why we do it.
Okay, can you tell us about your dogs? Because people might be thinking German Shepherds, they might be thinking bloodhounds, they might be thinking that you buy expensive imported dogs for this, but that's not the case, right?
Well, they are expensive.
They are expensive.
But it's the training that you're paying for the training and the personality of the dog. Okay, So we have 2 black labs. One's a purebred, the other's more of a bit of a mutt. We also have a border collie cross and a German short-hair pointer. Not sure if that one's a purebred. They're mainly rescues. One from California, 2 from Alabama, and the 4th one, it was actually from Alberta originally. The black lab. So what makes a good bedbug dog? How do you pick the ones out at the shelter? Which ones are going to do it? They have to have a high play drive, because that's why they do the job.
Right.
They get that reward by finding the target, and then they get a ball. And so they have to have a high play drive, and they have to have a high sense of self-confidence, a courageous dog, because they're going to work in all kinds of different environments.
Okay, so what about a scent pattern? Do you not, like, when you throw the ball and the dog goes to fetch it, do you not pay attention? When I've screened for hunters before, they're paying attention to what kind of search pattern the dog uses. Is that irrelevant to you, or is that important?
Yeah, it's part of the training process. They only get the reward at the end, after they've found it and after we've confirmed. Like, they alert when they find them. And then we stop the search, look for the physical evidence. So we'll be looking for the fecal, the shed skins, live bugs, or viable eggs. And once we confirm that, yep, the dog got it, then the dog gets the reward. Once the dog is trained to it, the reward can be delayed a little bit. Now, our dogs are toy-driven. Some dogs are motivated by food. Mm-hmm. And actually, our dogs will work for either. But we prefer the toy. It's just less mess than bothering with it. But actually,
I prefer dogs who are motivated by toys as well, because it's just so much easier to work with them. And they're not distracted by other food rewards in the environment. I can imagine when you go to a hospital, there's a lot of food around, right?
Yeah, a lot of pills on the floor. So you have to train them off of that, because you don't want them picking something up. Now, with black labs, that's a challenge. They're hoovers. Mm-hmm. So they pick up. Yeah. So you spend time training them off. It's called distraction training.
Well, we are talking with bedbugmutts.com if you want to check it out online. And we're talking with Sheree Swindle, and she's representing for Ken Hando as well. And we're talking about bedbug mutts. We're going to take a little break. We're going to come back and we're going to talk a little bit about Lily Lou, Hitcheroo, Alley Oop. And I think there's one more, Lulu. All right, so stay tuned, everybody. We're going to talk about just exactly what's going on with this. What is the life of a bedbug dog? Stay tuned on Animal Party Pet Life Radio with Deb Wolfe.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynovite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynovite.
Dynovite is nutrition.
Pick up 2 bottles of Lico Chops. Get the 3rd bottle free.
New improved Lico Chops with omega-3, omega-6, vitamin E.
And now, 6 extra direct-fed microbials.
Even better for the digestive tract and immune system.
Try Lico Chops. Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynovite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Let's Talk Pets on PetLifeRadio.com.
Hello, you're back on Animal Party Pet Life Radio with Deb Wolfe, and my guest today is Sheree Swindle, and we're going to start talking about these dogs. So, okay, you got these dogs, and it's a Border Collie Cross and a German short-haired pointer, which might be purebred, might not, and a couple of a lab and a lab cross. So all these dogs strike me as possible fetchaholics, possible never say die when the ball is thrown, 4 of them, right? Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, you're looking for that dog that, one of the testing, I watched a master trainer selecting a dog, testing it, that somebody had brought in. So he showed the toy that the dog loved. They brought the toy that the dog loved. So the trainer showed it to the dog. Someone's holding the dog back. And then he went and pretended to hide it in a bunch of different spots. So everywhere where the dog could watch, but the dog didn't know where the toy was. Then they released the dog. So you want that dog that goes to each of those hiding spots looking for the toy. using the nose to find the toy. If they get distracted in the route, they're probably going to get distracted on the job. So that was one test. Another test is for the fearlessness was we throwing the ball against a long corridor against a wall at the end, and the dog can go and fetch it. But it's set up so that the dog goes tearing down the hall, and he would bounce off the wall just like the ball does in order to get the reward. But if you've got a dog that's timid about doing that and doesn't just waits until the ball stops moving, again, that's not going to be a dog that's going to work good out in the field.
I can totally picture the difference. I have a chocolate lab who occasionally will rub her ears completely raw because she uses her ears to trap the ball because it's that important to her, right? And my poodles, they would never do that. They would never injure themselves to catch fetch. They would be like, you know what? If you want the ball, you must really want it more than me. Go ahead, right? This lab, she wants that ball. She wants that ball. And that's what you're talking about, totally. Okay, so we've got dogs who are eager to play and eager to fetch. And then I'm guessing you put the bait somehow and you guide them to find it? Or how do you do it first? Make it easy at first?
Yeah, to train them to the scent of the live odor of bedbugs, you would take that toy and immerse it with bedbug odor. So that say a tennis ball collects the odor. So then the dog associates the odor with playing. Then you have the dog start finding that toy. As the dog is successful finding the toy in the hiding spots, you take the ball, cut it up into pieces. And so the odor of the ball's there, the odor of the bugs are there. And then you slowly, you remove the pieces. So eventually, when you tell the dog to search, there's only the live odor left. And when the dog finds it, when the dog alerts, they get the reward.
So do you at any stage place balls that are not scented so that he can find those and not get rewarded?
Well, once the dog is trained onto the odor, the reward doesn't have to have the odor anymore. It can just be whatever the favorite toy is.
No, I know. I'm trying to see how you stop him from thinking the ball is what he's looking for, as opposed to the scented ball. How does he understand the difference?
That's a master trainer that does that, and I'm not a master trainer. So
I'm thinking that's how they do it. That's how I would do it. I would put balls that aren't scented out and not scold him, but only reward for the one that's scented, and that would train him off the unscented. This is so interesting to me. I've actually been asked to train a couple of dogs to find ore, because ore has a scent, and ore is often found with gold, which does not have a scent. And so I'm kind of working on this myself, a new technique for how to train dogs to find things. And so it kind of ties in. I mean, you and I finally connecting to do this after all these years really fits with what I'm up to lately. But your dogs, now that they're trained to find bed bugs, if you chose to, could you train them to find other things fairly easily? I would think so.
Yes, you can. Think of the drug dogs where grass is no longer illegal. So the police department would look at the dog. Now, if the dog is near retirement, there's no sense changing dog, just early retirement.
Right.
But if you've still got a good investment in that dog, years of work left, and a normal working life is around 8 to 10 years, then you can train them off and onto a new odor. Think of drug dogs. They alert on several different odors.
Right. Or bomb dogs. It's not just bombs. It's guns, too. It's sometimes money at the border. Yeah. They have a few. And I know that it's
that
up
would
to
be
5
different
things.
Dogs.
Yeah.
Now, but you also have to remember, you could end up in court. So if your dog is trained to more, say you had a termite dog and a bedbug dog, which they used to do years ago.
Okay.
If you end up in court, how can you prove in court which target the dog was alerting on? So
unless you taught it different signals, that's true. You could teach it to lie down and a sit, couldn't you? For the different.
It's proven not to be effective. You want a dog that goes after one target.
Okay.
So you can trust your dog. You've got to trust your dog. And I'm not saying there aren't dogs that are capable of that, but it probably isn't worth the investment of the extra time versus what your payoff is going to be. These dogs when you purchase them from a master trainer, run these days about 10,000 to 12,000 American. And then you've got to travel to go pick them up. You've got to stay there for a while and get oriented with the dog. You want to spend about 5 dogs there, learning about the dog, bonding with the dog, and
5
traveling
days.
back. And
yeah.
Wow.
Okay. So where did you go? How far did you go? Did you go to California for this?
Our first dog came from California, from Falco Academy in Los Angeles, and she was a fantastic working dog. She's retired now. That's Lula Lou. Okay. And then we picked up the Border Collie, Lily Lou, from Alabama, from FSI. And actually then our second black lab came from a trainer here in Maple Ridge. Hitcheroo, he was working as a bedbug dog, but that company decided no longer to do bedbugs. They were just going to concentrate on protection dogs and drug dogs. So we picked him up. He fit in nicely with the group. And then we still had a need, because we have 2 working handlers. We still had a need for a 4th dog, so we got the pointer from Alabama. So she's the youngest of the group. Still,
and is she the ruler? Is she the alpha? I bet
the youngest. No, she's a snuggle bug.
Aww.
She's still in her puppy stages, even though she's 3.5 years old. I think she's always going to be a puppy.
Well, we're going to take
the old one is the ruler.
The oldest one. Oh, okay. We're going to take another break, and we're going to come back and find out what it's like to take these dogs through a hotel or a hospital. Stay tuned on Animal Party Pet Life Radio.
Hey everyone, Michelle Fern here. You know how they say you are what you eat? Well, guess what? Same is true for your fur babe. I have a grandpa dog, as I call him. Mr. Z is now 14. And over the years, he's had his issues, but lately he's had a lot of allergies. And I've recently put him on a solid gold diet, and I have noticed a major difference. And right now, Solid Gold is offering an amazing offer to all of our listeners. Yep, by visiting solidgoldpet.com/petlife for 30% off your first order. Go ahead and take advantage of this great offer.
Let's talk pets.
Let's talk pets
on Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life
PetLifeRadio.com.
Hello, you're back with the party, and we have the bedbug dogs working with us today, seeking out bedbugs, keeping things safe. So, Sheree, what's it like when you go to a hotel? You walk in the front door, and is there a stigma about this, or are people welcoming?
Oh, yeah. People are afraid that their neighbors know that they've got a dog coming in, that they might have bedbugs. So we work in incognito
have a logo
a lot of the time.
So your car isn't like a giant bedbug, right?
No, it's a nice family, town and country. And it's just a little unusual because it's got 4 dogs in it.
Right. Okay. So if you arrive at a hotel, and you go through the front doors, are people curious? Like, why is there a dog here? Well, who is this? What's going on? I mean, or you just discreetly?
The dog has a vest on, saying working dog. So people automatically go, oh, this is a service dog. So, and people are better than they used to be. They've learned that you're not to talk to and make contact with a service dog, or if you want to, at least ask. So, the dog is, and you teach your dog to, not approach people, etc. Right. So the dog just looks like any other working dog. Or at a hotel, so many hotels now have a pet.
Yeah, a greeter or something.
Pets, right?
I know they have greeters and anxiety dogs. That's why I thought you'd almost get swarmed at the door with these lovely dogs. But okay, so you come in, you check in, and then do they normally have an area where they're suspicious, or are you just running through the entire hotel to see if the dogs like want to stop on a certain floor? How do you do this?
Well, there's kind of 3 different types of searches.
Okay.
And they all work pretty much the same from the dog's perspective. But from the client's perspective, if they suspect something, that would be a targeted search. So say we go into one hotel room, and we would do the adjoining rooms on either side, across the hall, and above and below, the floors above and below, right? So kind of that little core area, we'd send the dogs through. And when we go through the actual search, so we come in, you have a routine that you go through with your dog, like usually have the dog sit, and you just tell her, oh, what a good girl you are. You ready to work? Oh, okay, let's go. And you tell it search, or whatever your keyword is for them to go. Now, our dogs are trained to search on lead and off lead. There's, you want your dog on lead when there's, like in a hospital, where there's, you want to quickly pull them away from something where there's pills on the floor, etc.
Or even a syringe. I mean, you could have all sorts in a hospital: blood, drugs, vomit, right? I mean, it's a hospital.
You bet. And they're dogs. They're going to go for that blood and vomit. They're going to want to smell it.
Smell it, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But optimally, you work with your dog off lead. After all, the dog is the professional here, and they're actually the ones running the search. They're following their nose. Okay. You're there. The handler's there to make sure that they don't miss an area and to watch their body language. When they get into their odor, you can start, when you know your dog, you can see, oh, something's up here. The tail's going to wag faster. They become more energetic. Think of the Energizer bunny. And
signs of excitement.
Yes, and they're going to breathe quicker. The tongue may even come flying out. And what they're doing is they're tasting the air, because they actually have sensors in their tongue that they use as well. So when they're in the odor, they detect it. They think of the odor coming out like a cone, in a cone shape. So the dog is going to zigzag back and forth, finding those edges and following that cone to the source as it gets narrower. So they're trained, when the scent is the strongest, they alert. And now various dogs have different types of alert. My first dog, she sat. Well, as the years went by, she got arthritic. She was still working, but her arthritis bothered her. So it was a little hard for her to sit. So she was more of a crouch towards the end there. Okay. But I knew that as an alert. The rest of our dogs, we've trained them to that they lie down and they point with their nose to where they find the odor to be the longest. So sometimes they could lie down, but say it's in a curtain rod or on top of a dresser, their nose will point up, and they'll probably kind of jump up and point their nose in that direction.
Wow.
And at that point, the from the dog's point of view, hey, I've done my job. Where's my reward? I want my ball. Give me my ball. I want my ball. Yeah. So, as I said, you have to look for the physical evidence to verify, and then they get the reward.
Okay, so can you tell me, from the dog's point of view, do they have a hard life? Do they get to play? Do they, is it a good life besides when they're working? How much do they work? How much off time? That kind of thing.
Okay, a lot depends on the age of the dog and the personality of the dog. But at minimum, you should be able to get 5 hours of work. So then you put breaks in there. Say we're doing an apartment building. We've got 50 suites to do over, 5 floors. So we would come in with 2 dogs per handler. And while one dog's working, the other's in a portable kennel resting. And so that the first dog is probably going to work anywhere from 30 to 60 minutes before they need a break. Their nose needs a rest. They've got to have a pee break. So you can switch out dogs, and that dog can rest, and you pick up your second dog, and you keep going. You don't get the break. You keep working as the handler.
Right.
You also, to keep the drive alive, and water breaks too. They need the water. To keep the drive alive, you have to do hides. So we carry little vials that have screens on 1 or 2 ends that allows the live odor to come out, because there's live bugs in there. It just has to be a few bugs.
Right, and I get it.
To keep the drive alive. So we check in an apartment unit, a 2-bedroom apartment unit. The dog, it was clear. No, the dog had no interest anymore. So then we would go back without the dog, place the hide, let it sit for 5 minutes, and then bring the dog back in to search it again. Mm-hmm. The dog doesn't care that they've searched it again. They're just playing the game.
Right.
They find it, and they immediately get the reward. You play with them for a few minutes, and then think of the spring has been wound up again, and they're ready to go.
Yes,
so you've got another 30 to 50 minutes.
It's almost like if you can imagine playing fetch with your dog, and when someone kind of mean is playing with a dog and they tease them and they pretend to throw and then they hide and they pretend to throw and eventually the dog stops wanting to get it. You got it. Like, he needs to get it sometimes, right? Just to keep engaged and not be like, this is a boring game. I don't like this. Yeah. There's nothing to find here. He's got to fight. If he finds it, he goes, whew, I know what I'm doing. I know the game. This is the game. Yay, the game, right? And back to it. I totally get that.
Yeah.
So, okay, so that's a working day. Do they have off days too?
Oh, yes. We actually try to, if they have a full day, like we quite often work in the evenings to do office buildings when all the staff are gone.
Right.
So we probably start at 8:00 at night. We work till midnight. And that's a good shift. And so the next day, we're going to definitely not work in the morning. They're going to have the morning off, and we're going to have the morning off. And we may take some appointments in the afternoon. But the majority of the jobs are during the day, a regular work day. And they'll work for 3 or 4 days, get a day of rest, work for 3 or 4 days. So we work, we don't regularly have weekends off. Sometimes we have to go to businesses on weekends. So the schedule is quite all over the place, so you have to be very adaptable. One of the things I learned from a master trainer was Las Vegas rules. So routines are good, but you also have to shake them up. So they normally get fed at 5:30 in the morning and 5:30 at night, but jobs can interfere with that. Mm-hmm. So you shake around the schedule. They don't always get fed at 5:30. Sometimes they have to get fed at 2 in the morning because we have to be on a site on a job at 5 a.m. So their life is very interesting because no 2 days are the same. No 2 jobs are the same. There's always something new to find out, and the dog is always teaching you. One of the interesting things, I was doing a library, and a mouse ran across the floor. Well, my black lab was. Did you see that? So I let her go chase the mouse. I wanted to report to the pest control company where the mouse disappeared so they could follow up. So that was an interesting day. And then lo and behold, about 3 months later, we're doing a residence and we're in the basement, and the dog is showing interest. And but she didn't act like she's in odor. She's not in bedbug odor. She's in some other type. Mm-hmm. It's interesting to her. And I realized she's acting just like she did when she smelled the mouse. Uh-huh. Sure enough. So I filled it out in my report that I suspected that there were
rodents,
a mice problem in the basement on the north outside wall. Sure enough, he called me back a few months later. He said they were in the family room watching TV, and a mouse crawled out from under the baseboard.
Oh, yeah. Dog's nose doesn't lie.
Yeah. So it's all about knowing your dog and picking up on those cues. And it always changes. There's always a new challenge to overcome.
If people are listening right now and they're thinking they'd like to do this, or they'd like to see if their dog could be trained for this, or they want to get more information, where would you suggest they go?
Well, we do get calls like that about 1 or 2 a month on a regular basis. And most people, for bedbug dog, once they find out that they have to maintain a colony, that's it.
That's usually it. Yeah, that would be it for me. Yeah, that's right. Yep. I'll teach dogs to find anything but bugs. Me personally,
we do suggest that they, for the dog and for their enjoyment, is to turn to hobby scenting, where you train your dog on a few essential oils, and they have competitions, and it's quite a fun time doing that and working with your dog. Quite rewarding.
I like training pets to find the car, to find the people in the home, especially the children, by name, things like that, which actually have a use later. You know, you're out walking and you get lost.
You got it.
You don't know where the car is. Your dog knows where it is. He just doesn't know that's what you're looking for. Now you're not lost anymore. I mean, it's very easy and every dog can do it. But what you're talking about is precision, right? And it takes a big commitment. So if people really think they might be interested, I guess they can look at your website, bedbugmutts.com. Go there, check it out. And there'll be links from there about licensing, and there's official ways to do this. There's a World Detection Dog Organization. There's a National Entomological Scent Detection Canine Association. I mean, there's a way to do this right. So if you want to do it right, you can start at bedbugmutts.com for some information. And I just want to ask you, Sheree, is there anything you'd like my listeners to know about your dogs or what you do or anything at all?
Well, if they unfortunately find themselves in the position where they suspect that they might have contacted bedbugs.
Right.
The first thing is early detection. That's the best.
Okay.
That's when it's going to be the easiest to take care of it, and that's why the dogs excel at it. They find it before the physical evidence becomes obvious. But when, as a consumer, how do you determine who you're going to hire? What do you look for? And that's where the associations you mentioned are so important. They're third-party associations, like nonprofits, and what they do is they test scent detection dogs and the handler in real-life situations to prove that they do indeed find the target that they say they are finding. So we do this once a year with each of the associations. So twice a year we travel to California or Alabama, load up our dogs, and go down there and get tested. And each association has it's a little bit different between each one. They have different strengths in terms of what they're testing for. But look for a service that you can verify. So you'd be able to go to wddo.org or NSDECA.com, and they will list on there the company name, the handlers, and the dog, and that they have the certification. And you have to do that at minimum once a year.
And if you do see bed bugs, if you're in the Lower Mainland and you think you might have bed bugs, then maybe you want to be a discreet client of bedbugmutts.com and get the problem solved, right?
You betcha. We'll be glad to help you out.
Okay, so if you're listening to the show and you heard me talk about how to train a dog to find the car or find people, and you think that your dog might be good at that, I mean, really, any dog who likes food or the ball or cuddles can be trained to find people. So especially people the dog loves, especially children the dog loves. And when you have teenagers or preteens who don't listen when you call them in for supper or take off when you've kind of agreed on a meeting spot at a park, well, this can come in very handy because your dog will find them. He will find that teenage daughter who snuck off with the boy you don't like. Yes, he will. And you will find them. My father once did that to me. So teach your dogs to find your kids. Yeah, I know, I'm speaking from experience on that one. Teach your dogs to find your kids if you want. All you got to do is go to my YouTube channel, Deb Wolfe Pet Expert, and I got a bunch of clips on there about how to find things in a non-professional, fun, and silly way. I usually say if you're finding children, keep the leash on and make it serious. Don't give the dog the treat unless he finds the kid, because if it's a little kid, you may actually need this someday. So you want them working, and you want to be there when they find the kid. You don't want the dog to find the kid without you if the kid is far away. So, but you'll see all that on my YouTube channel if you want to check it out. And if you've got a bed bug problem or interest in bed bug dogs, go to bedbugmutts.com. Thank you so much, Sheree. It's been great talking to you.
I've enjoyed it very much, and I've got a tip for another one in finding people. There's a dog up in Kamloops trained to find keys.
Oh, I've done that for people. I've trained dogs to find cell phones, keys. Yeah. I trained one to alert when the diabetic pump made a funny noise because the noise wasn't loud enough to wake the diabetic person, but the dog sure heard the noise. There's so many things you can train dogs to do, and the dog just thinks it's a fun little game. Yeah. Am I going to see your dogs at Camp Good Dog sometime soon? I sure hope so.
Oh, yes. As a matter of fact, it could even be this weekend. We have to go down to Seattle to test with WDDO for 2 of our dogs with 1 handler. And so the other dogs are going to get staying home in order for stay back. They're not going to go down on the trip with us. So they get a mini vacation.
Well, for a change, it is supposed to not rain all weekend. So I will show them a great time outside. We will have a blast. And the pond is ready. If you're talking about your labs, the pond is ready.
Oh, they'll love it.
Okay, everyone. So that'll be it for today's episode, the 100th episode of Animal Party Pet Life Radio. And we've been talking to Sheree Swindle on behalf of Ken Hando as well, from bedbugmutts.com. And I'm Deb Wolfe, Animal Party Pet Life Radio. If you want to check me out on YouTube, it's Deb Wolfe Pet Expert, and the same on Facebook. So, from everybody here at Pet Life Radio and from me, Deb Wolfe, be good to your animals.
Let's Talk Pets, every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.